Sasquatch, Yahoo, Phantom of the Forest, you Spearfinger, Fire Dragon, Ohio Grassman, Silver Giant, Bloodless Howler, West Virginia Vampire, Coyote King, Hogzilla, Devil Dog, Coyote Killer. Cave creature, Mothman, Smoke Wolf, Lizard Demon, Ashman, Grafton Monster, Cow-killing Bastard, Shadow Creature, Dustman, Cherokee, Death Cat, Wild Man, Great Fire Rape. What else do I have to say? Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the Bigfeets. Snallygaster, Rogue Team, Red Island Bear Beast, Silver Giant, Squalling Savage, Black Wolf was kind of average, Stone Giant, Raven Mocker, Midnight Whistler, Wampus Beast, Wawa Woman, Ohio Grassman again. Technically Huckleberry, Wolfman, or Wolf County need to find the X again if we hunt the Lightning Man. Webster's Werewolf, Daily Howl, Kentucky Hellhound, Little Girl, Headless Horror, I can't take it anymore. Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the Bigfeet.
Well, this here's Bigfeets, the only Mountain Monsters watch-through podcast not currently being sued by the Huckleberry legal team. Currently. I'm fucking with my co-host by doing my second thing first, Robert Brockway.
I'm gonna catch me that Wampus piece. I'm sorry I forgot we introduced ourselves on TV, Sean, baby, from the fucking internet.
I am Jason Pargin, here to very quickly go over the disclaimer. I don't have the exact text in front of me. Any illegal activities that we allege in this podcast of the cast of Mountain Monsters, the Bigfoot hunting reality show, is purely done in jest. We have no evidence that anyone involved in this production has consumed any illegal substances, including methamphetamine. If we at any point imply that someone has the mannerisms or talking speed of someone on meth, that is a joke. That is only meant in jest. That is not a serious accusation of anyone having purchased or used any illegal substances that are legal or illegal in the state of West Virginia or the other places where the Mountain Monsters roam.
That's bullshit. I've seen Bigfoot do meth. I've seen him do it. I love that surely we went over the disclaimer that starts every episode of Mountain Monsters, which I think is the funniest part, is that they think this is gonna inspire a Jackass-style nation-sweeping craze
These
of
are
amateur Bigfoot hunters.
Do not attempt.
It is beautiful because it starts off saying, hey, these guys know what they're doing, and then every minute of the show, even episodes many years into the series, implies that it's their first time in the woods. I don't know if I made this clear enough in the first 3 episodes. I do not believe these people are woodsmen at all.
Like, surely they would have died by now if they did not have a support team with them at all times. And we've seen that. We will prove that. That's the thesis statement of this podcast. Before we get into today's episode, do you want to plug something? Let's talk about some stuff.
Yes. Despite the fact that I am being paid $25,000 an episode to do this podcast, I also mainly write books. The next one is called Zoe is Too Drunk for This Dystopia. It is out in October. It is up for pre-order now in every possible format, wherever you can possibly buy books.
Good plug, Sean.
I write with my co-host Robert Brockway on a place called 1-900 Hot Dog. It's the very final comedy website featuring an all-star cast of internet greats. We've got text. We got pictures. It's the best. Go to our Patreon, patreon.com/1900hotdog.
I stopped listening after Robert Brockway. I was satisfied when you said that. I'd like to plug the Dog Zone 9000. That's the podcast me and Sean Baby run, where we go over sometimes non-Bigfoot related cursed objects that certainly must be from another realm. Just media that should never have existed and might not. Some of them we might have proved never existed at any point in time. It's great fun, except for the times it's not, when people hate it. We have Jason Pargin on sometimes, and an all-star list of friends that we torture and amuse ourselves with. Dog Zone 9000. Go find it wherever fine podcasts are casted.
I am not saying that the content these two guys produce will never be replaced by AI, But I am saying that when the day comes that AI can do this, it will have already ended the world. Like it will have done
Yeah.
everything else first. Like by the time that day comes where like today we're recording this in the past for you listener, but today's Sean's column was a VHS tape explaining what masturbation is on behalf of a company that I think sells devices, and it's on one hand incredibly dry and scientific and then incredibly graphic.
Yeah.
It's like a combination of just explicit porno and then incredibly dry discussion of anatomy, and he's always tried to get to the bottom of who this is for. I cannot fathom the AI that could write that exactly that way, but once we get to the point where it can, there won't be anything left of civilization. So it will be the last thing that AI can do.
Because it gets to the point where it wants to. Well, it long since has killed everybody else. Where it's like, I'm just gonna try this. I'm gonna try this masturbation thing. I saw that. I crawled the archives. I saw this Sean guy do it a bunch of times. Surely, and that will be the thing that destroys the robots. Will be comprehending Chris's double-fisted butthole. Almost certainly cut that.
See, the thing is, masturbation is a great tool for your partner to learn what you like. I know that because they said that in the video 680 times because there's only the one masturbation tip.
This is the worst plug that's ever been. Let's move on.
A robot wouldn't be able to make that observation. A robot would just be like, yeah, that's a good point.
The robot would have to concede that point immediately. Why would it bother arguing? Okay, well, believe it or not, this is a Mountain Monsters podcast. Mountain Monsters, if you're just joining us, don't do that. Listen from episode 1. We're watching along with them. It's like a hillbilly X-Files cryptid reality monster hunting show on a shoestring budget. I don't think they can even afford hotels. I think it's just filmed like where they all live so that they can all just drive to it. They hunt all sorts of creatures and then realize about halfway through the show, this is mostly Bigfeet. We're just going to do Bigfoot stuff, of which there are 1 million species of Bigfoot. So they never run out of variety. It's great. It's wonderful. It brings joy in all of its forms. Our main cast is Trapper. That's the leader. Huckleberry. That's Bigfoot security, and that's not me making a joke. That's his actual role in the show. His security against the Bigfeet. Buck, who at this point in the show is between being the rookie, the caller is what he's trying to make happen. He wants everybody to make him the caller now. Yeah. But they all still think he's the rookie, and sometimes Husky Ninja. Jeff is our hillbilly research scientist. Willy is the trapper, not Trapper. You can be forgiven for making that assumption, but it's wrong. And Wild Bill is our tracker, despite the fact that he never tracks anything at all. Not once during the show. He would be the worst person to do that job. He's distracted every 4 seconds. Yeah, he has no eye for detail. He's falling out of a tree as we speak.
He's a fall maniac. Legally, he's a fall maniac.
As we will find out, a professional fall maniac. Yeah. Which made my goddamn day. So we're watching Mountain Monsters Season 1, Episode 4, Wampus Beasts of Pleasance County.
Now, I need to establish right here, we have found out later on in episodes of Mountain Monsters that not all of these monsters are existing cryptids that anyone has heard of. Sometimes they make one up for the show.
Is this one of those times?
Unethical.
Sure that the Wampus Beast was something they just invented for Episode 4 of Mountain Monsters. Not true. It is a thing, yeah.
And it's even, here's the thing, when it's not, when it's something they make up, it gets wild. But when it's something real, they'll still even do, I don't know, their own spin on it. They'll spin it off so that, for example, Bigfoot has lightning powers. That's not in anybody's folklore. They will make that part up. But as near as I could tell, Wampus Beast were genuinely what they appear to be in the episode, which is Black Panthers that stink.
To be clear, listeners, these men do zero research into these creatures. This is all an exercise in improv. They improvise the lore on the fly, and it's magical because sometimes, as you're going to learn, they're not so great at the yes and aspect of improvisation. So one of them will say something like, well, I think I saw 2 of them. And then they'll be like, No, I think it was
Nope.
just the one because one guy is trying to improvise like a plot twist because this is not scripted. It is fake. It is not scripted. They are all doing this on the fly, and boy, you can tell.
I do love when they calibrate, when one guy like goes too far and the others are like, no, we're not doing that one. I guess we talked about that. It was the Thunder Brother one, or the one we did before Thunder Brothers, where Buck kept trying to invent a young Indian bride for Bigfoot, and they kept shutting him down, and he just kept bringing it back up, and he just through sheer power of will, he got that into the story. So that can happen.
If you want it bad enough, if you want Bigfoot to have a child bride bad enough, that's part of his lore now. All right, so this episode kicks off in the traditional meeting inside Trapper's truck as they're driving the 15 minutes to hunt this exotic monster. They even say that here. He says, first time we hunted anything in our own backyard, and this time it's personal.
Definitely not
Both
the
of those
last
statements
time.
are lies.
Yeah, definitely not the last time. They will conveniently find the cryptid is just like the next town over where they...
It also
I believe it's
incorporates
happened every episode.
My other favorite trope is that they always find a way to make it personal. And this one, they don't even like come up with a plausible reason. They're just like, it's personal this time. We're just saying that's the top. There's no reason for it, but like,
I want to talk about that because I feel like for episode 4, they actually got a note from, what was the network that aired this originally? It's like the Travel Channel.
Travel Channel Plus.
The Travel Channel Plus streaming service, streaming to 175 users around the world. I think in episode 4, they gave them the note, you need to be explaining why you're so mad at these creatures.
Right.
Because for the first 3 episodes, they entered the woods and there would be something like Buck would slip and fall in the water. And then it'd be like, we've got to get back at them for what they did to Buck.
They're like, that's good. More of that.
Bigfoot.
It's like that thing never asked you to come. And so here they have set up a thing where one of their own has been attacked.
Right. I think they got that. I think legitimately you're right that they got that note after specifically the last episode, episode 3, the Ohio Grassman, where they went into Bigfoot's house and just trashed his shit. Bigfoot was like, fucking get out of my house. Like, I'll fucking kill you, Bigfoot. Just yelling into the woods. They saw Bigfoot's ass and Trapper tried to shoot it. Or he regretted not being able to shoot it.
And prior to this, they had never established that the Ohio Grassman had ever attacked anyone or anything in its entire existence. It was more...
He'd never even been seen. They didn't even know. This was like, it started as a hunting trip, and then Buck got his shoes wet in a creek, and they were like, this fucker's dead.
So these creatures, on average, are less dangerous than the average person who lives in America or West Virginia specifically. So, right. But from the start, they're out to assassinate these things with extreme prejudice. So this time, yeah, I think they decided, no, we've got to explain that we need some sort of motivation before we go John Wick on this thing.
Right. They added like a hero element to this too, because before they run the intro, they basically play the entire episode in its entirety. Most shows would call like a supercut, right? But this is almost entirely everything you need to know to watch the episode. If you just watch 15 seconds of each episode, you got it. You're done. But in this case, they say that the Wampus Beast is a cattle killer and a potential man killer. So they are theoretically saving lives if they can get out there and kill this Wampus Beast before it has the chance to kill. But
see, I think they got Jason's notes so hard, like, that they overcompensated, because there is a lot of like, we have to sit down and explain and fully justify why one would want to kill this Wampus Beast, as they call it.
I feel like this
of course it's personal.
I feel like it could have happened organically, just like when they're out there and like getting kind of tired from hiking around. Someone probably said, why are we fucking doing this, guys? And then the guy's like, and then that's when they improv a reason. That's when they're like, we gotta, because we hate Bigfoot. Right. Like, it might not have been a network note. It might have just been them keeping like the group in the woods. Together. Otherwise, it's just like, guys, I'd rather just not hunt Bigfoot today.
Watching them invent the framework of a story in real time. Well, what if this had a point? That would be something. What if it had like kind of a, I don't know, like a arc? What was one of them arcs to this? It's Willy. It's Willy who had the run-in with the Wampus Beast. And it's been spotted on his farm. Huckleberry can't even let him have that spotlight, though. He immediately pipes up from the back to be like, I seen one, too.
Yeah. Again,
just kind of quietly.
Yeah, improvised. Yeah.
It looks like it shocked them out of like what they were going to do, because they're all like, what the fuck?
God damn it, Huckleberry.
He doesn't really have a follow-up at this point in time. Everyone in this area has apparently seen them for years and years, to the point that Trapper says, I feel like I'm the only sumbitch on this team ain't seen this black cat. An exact quote.
He feels real left out.
Which is important to remember.
But yes, so they go to Willy's farm, and he saw it when he was 9. The story he tells is that his dad sent him back for a hammer, and then when on the way to getting the hammer, he was 10 yards from a Wampus. And he says it was muscled down, completely ripped. And he's worried it's stealing his piglets. Because he has like a mud farm, like just a swampy manure field with various
we
piles
got piglet
of trash.
steaks, everybody.
And he's like, someone's taking my piglets. And his lead suspect is the Wampus.
It's okay, so let's describe the Wampus. We're referring to a Wampus, and of course everybody has a vivid picture of what a Wampus would be. And you're completely wrong. It's a Black Panther and nothing else, which we see in the CGI creature of a big Black Panther.
Yep.
Consulting Jeff's library hauler, this Wampus beast is 500 or 600 pounds. It's got feet as big as coffee cans. Exact quote. That's how you measure. Well, that's how we make the indent in the dirt when we're faking the tracks. We use coffee cans.
We'll cut that. Don't tell him we did it with the coffee can.
And you know when he's close because he's got kind of a skunky, wetty smell. That's Jeff's exact words.
Yep.
A skunky, wetty smell. And Trapper confirms, well, I read that it's a skunk wet dog smell. Like as if to say, what the fuck did you just say, Jeff?
I read that in the library hauler.
In the library hauler, where books wash up when we're done with them. They meet up with Willy on his farm. The beast, as Sean said, is taking its piglets. Now, what's interesting is they will try to establish stakes later, but right now, this is it. Willy doesn't want to keep losing piglets to the Wampus. That's why it's personal.
That's enough.
It's a quest for revenge.
I feel like that's funny.
It's especially what I like is the added detail Willy says, which is that this farm has been in my family for generations, as though that makes it extra disrespectful of the Wampus beast. Like, how dare he take from this farm that's been in my family for generations? He is completely ripped. Willy says, when I saw him when I was 9, he was completely ripped and long as a couch.
Now, already for the 4th consecutive episode, the listener has but one question. Is a Wampus beast a singular immortal creature that has been plaguing this man for his entire life since he was 9 years old? Or is it a species of creature? Because in this episode, they will go back and forth. You will hear someone refer to a Wampus beast, like I saw one of them do it, and then other times they will refer to it as a singular entity, as in, if we kill or scare off this particular one, the problem is done forever. This, as far as I know, is a confusion that will persist in every single episode of Mountain Monsters for the next 9 seasons.
It's a hallmark. Whether or not this is one guy that sucks, like just fucking Gerald the Bigfoot. Like, we're gonna get him. Or there's a whole species of Gerald feet out there.
Is it a magical creature? This is not a minor point. Like, is this a singular demon entity? Because, again, this guy's claimed this thing is, I don't know how old Willy is, but he's claimed this thing is at least, 30 plus years old. That's awfully long for a wild cat to live, I would assume, even in captivity, let alone in West Virginia. So they definitely will imply it's like this is a legendary creature. And then previous episodes, it's like, well, we've got sightings going back to 1704. They're like, oh, okay, so are you hunting a 300-year-old immortal creature with a crudely made chain link fence cage?
Okay, every once in a while they do answer that question, and the answer is yes. Yes, we are doing exactly that.
It's usually magical, yeah. It does feel like it's not out of the question that a panther escapes from a zoo, or just some maniac out in the woods is raising actual black panthers, and a couple of them got loose. That's just an invasive species so like, if that's the story that they want to tell, I feel that's reasonable, but it's so uninteresting to these guys, it's not even brought up. Like, no one says, hey, yeah, this could just be a panther just living in the woods.
That's what a Wampus beast is. No, it's a panther skunk, and Willy says, I don't know if I was scared as I was at 9 years old, but I did had that 9-year-old fear rehappen again. I think that's a tender moment. It's impossible to tell. Huckleberry tells his story, which is that he saw one crossing the road, and then he moves as if to stop there, and only once he feels the stare of all of the guys on him, as though that can't be it. He goes, it let out this ungodly woman squeal, or perhaps holler,
woman-like holler.
I could feel the vibrations of it. An ungodly, like, I feel like he fucked up the episode for everybody right there. Like, ungodly woman squeal. It's got a sonic attack now. What the fuck are you doing?
I do love how nothing gets fixed in post. Like, if someone says something, like if Huckleberry starts a story about an ungodly woman-like holler, they can't just be like, that didn't really play, let's cut that. They're like, no, I don't know what we can't cut around that. We can't lose any footage because we were only out in the woods for 11 minutes.
And also, there is no pre-production meeting to discuss what they're going to say.
We're seeing the brainstorming session.
And turn on the cameras.
I sometimes fantasize about if this was exactly scripted, like every line was carefully written down. I would love to read that script so much. That would be a work of absolute sissy-necky genius. I would change my whole opinion on this show immediately.
You see an interview with the actor who plays Wild Bill, and he's like British.
Right.
The British accent.
It's quite a challenging role. I wasn't familiar with this area.
He's from the Shakespeare Company. Just trying to get his break. Buck also senses this is a great time to join in, and he says, he knows a horse farmer who thinks his horse may have gotten attacked by one. Don't worry, my mom patched up that horse.
Yes! Yeah, he keeps adding to the story.
This is my favorite moment of the episode because, again, clearly improvised, clearly not discussed in advance because why would you? And this is what he came up with. Not a horse rancher. Again, this is supposedly someone who spends all his time in the woods. He's a woodsman, you know. Like, yeah, my mom knows a horse farmer who got a horse attacked by a Wampus beast, but she patched him up. Like, he could have made up anything, and he came up with the lamest possible story.
My mommy knows a fireman cop.
at least when Huckleberry jumped in there to just cat-like knock everything off the desk. At least he was escalating stakes to make it like it's freaky. It's not just a panther. It's got this fucking woman-like squeal. We hear it. It doesn't. And he could feel the vibrations like it's a sonic attack. But Buck tries to end the scene on like, well, that horse was fine.
Yeah.
Don't join in, Buck. That's not how the scene works. So Willy goes to take them to the last sighting of the Wampus beast. They don't even have to cut. They just walk around the corner. It's 40 feet away, which is great for them. And says, when I saw the Wampus beast eyes, they was on fire like they was a demon. Scared the hell out of me. And Trapper responds, well, he's lost his fear of humans. His next move is a human attack.
Based on...
years old
based
memories.
On Wampus beast extensive studies on Wampus beast behavior, I guess. He just knows that. And also, I like the idea of the Wampus beast being afraid of humans for a long time. If it's a 600-pound Black Panther that can kill with a sonic attack.
From hell. Right, yeah.
No. Yeah, from hell. They do say it's evil. So they're going to do a night investigation. Now, this especially, Trapper tells us, this is so dangerous because this Wampus beast has 100% night vision. And we don't.
That's right.
Not 100%.
Now, where have they heard that it has 100% night vision?
They do not give a source.
The Wampus hole. Down at the Wampus hole, of course.
I do, because Willy knows this terrain. So they're like, Willy, you know this terrain. He's like, that's right. And it's real rough. And the Wampus beast is fast. So that's the expertise he's bringing. I just listed everything he tells them.
And maybe the Wampus Beast is fast. The terrain they show us, I mean, it's kind of hard to see because a lot of it's at night. But it doesn't look rough. It looks like just the stuff around the corner from my house. Like if I went into like just the stuff, like it would suck to be off the path, but it's just woods. It's not rocks or marsh.
It looks like parts of the park here in the middle of the city in Nashville. Like the actual public park, there's a little patch of trees and a little culvert with the creek running through it. Like when they will say something like, well, Buck, why don't you go up, you can get up that hill. Why don't you go up that hill? It's a very gentle incline.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Like you wouldn't sled down it. You wouldn't bother.
Yeah. I'm sure it's awkward to climb at night while wet. But in terms of these people, it's like I spend 250 days of the year in the woods. I eat wild animals that I catch with my own two hands.
Skunk ass.
These guys struggle with very, very moderate terrain.
Yeah.
It's the most dangerous part of any episode is when they have to navigate the ground.
Buck kind of has to waddle like a Mr. Potato Head. So it's like any terrain for Buck is pretty severe.
I'm going to allow that because as we start to see, they're going to start making fun of Buck for that.
Yeah. You're right. They do that.
That's part of the show. That's part of the show. I was going to call you out for unnecessary cruelty, but it's part of the show. It has to be discussed. So Jeff has it. Jeff says, I got it. We are 8 minutes into the episode. They've been in these woods for not even 30 seconds, and he has found the track of the Wampus Beast. It's amazing that these things have never been found before. Nobody tried, surely, because this was accidental.
Instantly.
He's got something on the thermal, and it looks like something wet. And Trapper says, prompting him, is it wet up there? And Jeff goes, it's piss! Buck rubs his hand on it and then smells it and goes, he pissed in it. like he's offended.
Piss in these woods.
Pissed in this tree. They find some very neat scratch marks on a tree. It's adorable.
It's like someone took their car keys and made 4 perfectly parallel little. It's like how a child would draw
there's no
bear
splinters.
Attack. Yeah,
there's no burring around it. It's just like it's a very carefully drawn, shallow little line that some intern, I guess, scratched. It's like a very bewildered intern.
It's like a prisoner in the woods died on the 4th day, didn't get a chance to put the hash mark through.
We're not going to beat that. That's exactly what it is. That's what happened. They found it and they decided to use it. Trapper uses his expert skills. He actually stops to put his hand on his beard and muse and says, well, he pissed on that tree there. It's still wet. That's what he did.
And it's, if you would like the exact quote that I transcribed.
Go.
What he did, guys, let me tell you, he was hunched down right here, and he was digging with his back feet, making that piss bed. He stood up there and marked that tree. Then he turned around and was facing uphill and pissed on that tree right there. Look, it's still wet. All of this is like a Sherlock Holmes-esque.
Yeah.
Like you see equations floating in front of his eyes based on looking at nothing. Now, what you're going to find when watching additional episodes as time goes on is Trapper, the performer, this is like his deal where he can see like a little flat bit of mud by a riverbank and be like, this is where the Mothman slid into the water.
Yes.
This is the Mothman slip and slide. I've seen it.
He will draw up a spectacular sequence of events like he's reconstructing it in his genius brain off of nothing, or I was going to say work that the prop department did. They clearly do not have a prop department. One of those guys just went down and scratched with their car keys or whatever. Yeah, whoever they make do it. Probably Buck.
So they hear a very canned roar, and remember, we've been told the Wampus Beast makes a womanly shriek or holler. It's just a canned lion roar, so already Huckleberry's fucked. His whole thing he was going to try to get happening is just right out of the improv.
Do you think they spent time trying to find in the sound library a roar like what he described, or if they were just like, no, screw him? We didn't ask him to say that.
They could have just stolen, I don't know, a velociraptor or something. I think that's what Huckleberry was going for, but that's not what he got. He got very much the MGM lion.
It probably depends on the Wampus mood.
Yeah, maybe the one that met up with Huckleberry was real horny. Was just horny for that Huck.
Yeah,
That's what
he's
I
like.
thought. That's what I felt. That vibration, in my Huckle parts. So Willy hears this and immediately, knowing the stakes, knowing that there's a beast out there, being a professional beast tracker and trapper, he goes, "He's on my hogs, I gotta get at them hogs," and runs off into the woods in a blind panic, alone to die at the hands of a Wampus beast. And all of our boys take off running after him right after the testimonial by Buck. So they stop so Buck can recap it as Willy just dies off camera to a Wampus beast.
I took this as a new element that we need to consider is that I think only one of them can run at the same time. I think it's the group's only weakness is that one of them gets running ability and that pulls from the group's special abilities.
Share the running stick.
Yeah.
It was Willy's turn.
There was a commercial and a recap thrown in there. I guess we don't need, since that happens every 5 minutes, I guess we don't need to note every time that happens. But if any of you listening or watching along with Mountain Monsters, please prepare yourselves for the fact that they will do the commercial break. Like, you won't see the ads if it's on streaming. And then they'll cut back and just replay what you just saw.
And in this case, okay, so Buck gives the testimonial as Willy dies off camera. They cut to the commercial, recap everything, and then stop for another testimonial from Huckleberry, presumably cutting out the wild shrieks of Willy being disemboweled just off camera. No, Willy's at his hog shack. He has lost 3 piglets to this goddamn son of a bitch, and he's lost his mind. It's the last straw for him. Jeff has seen some heat on the thermal camera down a hill. Willy says, "That sumbitch is mine," and Huckleberry says very gently, "I'm concerned."
Yeah,
Willy's losing his mind.
They need to control Willy or he's going to die. Is sort of the idea. Not like, hey, let's go help him kill this. At. Like, they're there to kill the Wampus beast. Willy found it, and they're like, "God, Willy, you got to get it under control, buddy. You can't just run off after the Wampus beast."
But that sumbitch is mine.
I feel like that's plan A. I feel like their plan A was to run off after the Wampus beast.
It was. That was the only plan that they had. That's usually enough plan for them. I feel like that's the only plan that they had. They hear a noise and then chase it. They find some dead pigs, mutilated but not eaten whatsoever. I don't think they work this into the lore here. They just didn't feel like mauling a pig carcass for this bit.
Where do you guys think they got the pigs for this?
Just like a butcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go to a butcher and buy a whole pig?
I've never
done that. Okay.
I feel like these probably came from an actual pig farmer because like they're not butchered in any way yet. I mentioned that in my notes they say they're delicately staged because it feels like someone took the dead pig. One of them has like a bunch of intestines like placed on top of it very carefully.
That are 5 times the size of the pig, of course.
But they could have been for a butcher shop.
It's a separate bag of intestines they just laid on top of it. Yeah.
Right. I guess what do you call it? Desanguinated. They feel like they might have like had the blood taken out of them by a butcher. They're not like mangled corpses in any way. Like, I don't know.
And
it feels like that's not hard to just.
Yeah, you think they'd work that into it somehow, seeing it as they did in the coyote episode, the demon dog episode. They're like, oh, he's drained all the blood, so they didn't have to mutilate a carcass. Yeah. But in here, they're just like, it's not worth noting. Huckleberry says it's pretty depressing. They're wasted and worth nothing, and Trapper just goes, just wasteful. They're all very disappointed in the Wampus beast for not respecting nature, I think is the point of this.
If you're going to steal a piglet, I think that's bad. But like, if you're just going to steal a piglet just to carefully pull out one intestine, place the intestine back on top of it, and leave it, like, that's wastefulness.
Yeah,
it's disrespectful to nature. Any of that Wampus beast?
Well, this is what I found funny about it, because anyone who has a farm with animals on it, which, Sean, didn't you grow up on a farm with animals?
I did, yeah.
Okay. The concept of having wolves or something come and kill some of your chickens or something like that is just a thing that happens. That's part of you have fences, you have all sorts of protections against that, precautions, but it's a thing that happens. You don't take it personally. It's not.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not like shaking your. It's just part of nature. Like this is why you have a fence. This is why you keep your chickens in a coop. That's the whole concept. You don't like start crying. It's like this is the same coyote that taunted me when I was 12 and my father was.
I want to put the caveat in that, like, my stepdad did once execute a rooster for attacking my mom. I told the story on Behind the Bastards. It's a very strange story, so I won't go back into that. But my dad used to get really mad if a gopher messed up his lawn, and he would wait out on. He would take a bar stool out to the lawn with a shotgun, and he would stay out there all day long waiting for that fucking gopher to come up. And so I guess I do have some experience.
I retract my statement.
With a country
Sean,
person.
You are right, and I was wrong.
It depends on how crazy you are.
Yeah.
Is the lesson.
I also want to caveat that my stepdad was a maniac, and my dad probably just wanted to go read his book by himself, and because he would go into the bathroom for hours, and so eventually the kids would find him and mess with him, because that would be his escape, to go on the toilet and read a book. And so I feel like getting a shotgun and going out to the center of the lawn was his way of just getting away from the goddamn kids for a little while. So again, you might be right, Jason, that people don't take it personally, but I at least experienced the theater of someone taking it personally. And looking back on it, maybe I don't trust it as much. I trust it more than this show.
Do you think that's maybe what part of this is? Like, maybe that's how this started, is that they all just wanted to get away from the wife and kids, and were like, fucking, I gotta go help Willy. He's got a Wampus beast attack, is what he's got. Killed his piglets, and then they just go out and sit in the woods. Somehow it spiraled out of control, and now they have a show.
She's like, I don't care about the piglets. He's like, no, it's going to attack a man next. It's a potential man killer, honey.
A show that has gotten more seasons than Breaking Bad. Because I want to make it clear. Sometimes we're going to make fun of these guys. Sometimes we will, unfortunately, make fun of their fitness or their bodies. I want to make it very clear. Buck is a more successful entertainer than any of the three of us. He has had a TV show on cable for 9 years. We could not manage that. Multiple people on this. I think all three of us have pitched a TV show at some point, and none of us got 9 seasons.
That's true.
I don't want to do this show anymore.
We are doing a podcast about Buck. Buck is not having to do a podcast about us. Where's the power dynamic there?
You hear that, Buck? You coward! The gauntlet has been laid. So
I challenge you to a crick race.
So now it's time for Wild Bill and Willy's Crackhead Trap Shack. Legal disclaimers, yada yada yada. Willy has come up with a snare trap. And Trapper says, it's really complicated. There's a lot of labor in it. What he has is he ties ropes to 2 strong trees and then a rope to a 3rd tree, which will jerk the net in the air when released. And it's just a snare trap. I mean, that's it.
But he does have
all
to.
There is to it.
He has to weave his own net, because you can't just buy a net that holds a 500-pound cat. But
yes, you can.
Yes, I looked it up, and the first match was a net at Home Depot that holds 500
Yes,
pounds.
I have a net that can hold more than that in my basement right now. Quite easy.
I literally searched for net 500 pounds, and it was very affordable at Home Depot. There's a picture of a child climbing on it. The number goes way up,
yes,
too.
That's very reasonable.
1,100 pounds seems to be the normal one. I don't know.
Also, part of the joy of Mountain Monsters, if we have not accurately conveyed it through the first 3.5 episodes of our podcast, is that you have, again, the guy making the trap is Willy, the man who has just lost his pig children to the Wampus beast.
Right.
So you have...
love that sentence.
So you have him, this borderline near tears, talking about, we have got to stop this thing. This thing has been taunting me my whole life. If it, it's now not satisfied to kill pigs, it's going to come after people. And then we cut to him making a literal Wile E. Coyote trap.
He has to hand weave the net because they don't make nets big enough. So he's in there tying knots.
Logic thing, because they're even going to reference later that they think it's going to launch him into the sky.
Which I would, even if there was just a prop, if they had shown that just getting heaved a quarter mile away and been like, yep, problem solved. This would be the best show in the world. But we're going to take a break from that to instead have a survivor's bonfire. Trapper has invited everybody who's seen the Wampus beast in his area to his backyard to sit around a fire and talk about it. And the first lady's a bus driver who saw it in daylight. So once again, we've established these are not nocturnal creatures.
Right.
I don't know why we always hunt them at night, but all of the sightings are during the day. 100% so far. He's long tail, totally black, and she says he just stood at a standstill. That's her story. She then pretends to be extremely frightened for the children based on this black cat that stood still.
See, she shows the restraint. She knows not to commit too hard to like new powers or abilities. She's just like, at one of the road, it looked at me. That's enough for her. Now,
I don't think they commit hard enough. The second woman says, all I saw was just huge in eyes. Just huge in eyes.
Huge in eyes. We should make a note of this.
Her story.
This is episode 4. There's 2 women on this episode. I bet it's
the first
50 episodes before we see another woman.
These are the first women, and you can feel them get that producer's note, and they're like, fucking fine.
The producer's like, in here. Ladies, you are not safe here. And they're like, yeah, the Wampa Beast. And they're like, no, Buck, Huckleberry, Willy, and Trapper.
Legal disclaimers. We already went over it.
And yet,
can't sue.
This series, because of this scene, does pass the Bechdel test.
That's true.
Yeah, they talk about a Wampus beast.
You have 2 women talk to each other.
If it's a male Wampus beast, it doesn't work.
That's a good point.
The electrician here just saw his eyes, but he knows it was the Wampus beast, and finally the second woman pipes up and says, I know it's evil! Kind of out of nowhere.
She committed. She added the element.
She added evil, and they were all like, well, fuck, all right.
No one's going to argue with that. I would love it, though, if one of them did, like, actually, I know the Wampus beast. He's a hero. He's here to save us.
Now, come on. He's a complicated beast. You don't know.
And also, what of its actions so far are different from just any other animal trying to eat? Like, what's the evil?
None.
What's the evil aspect?
He didn't eat, I guess. He took 3 pigs and just kind of placed them dead near Willy's.
He was being chased by hillbillies at the time.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I mean, maybe he gets a pass on that one.
But how did they picture him?
Did
Did they picture him getting up on his hind legs, carrying 1 pig in each paw and then another in his mouth, and like just running and then another in his mouth?
Now that's a good point. Is it a squirrel situation? Like, does he push them back in the cheek pockets and they expand,
and then spits them all out?
How did he take? How did he take 3 piglets? not eat, take. So Jeff has a live video from a local cattle farmer. And it was literally just a black screen. It was dark on dark, and somebody pretends to see something in the dark.
Kind of maybe a dog silhouette in there somewhere. It's kind of
maybe something.
I kind of got a Home Alone vibe. Like maybe they built a silhouette of a panther, and then someone kind of pulled it on a skateboard across the horizon. Because it was not like a moving animal, but it kind of had a panther shape, and it was moving horizontally. I feel like it was
just put it
like a Michael Jordan cut out on a toy train type of situation.
Everybody agrees this is undeniable proof. That is the Wampus beast, the bus driver says, and we cut next day to that cattle farmer Nolan, who does a great job. Some of these people. They get these sort of locals, and you don't know that they can improv. Like, you're paying them $20. He met them at a gas station. But Nolan was just on it. Trapper goes, you seen? And Nolan goes, yeah. Trapper goes, you seen anything? And Nolan goes, yeah, oh yeah. Trapper goes, you seen anything unusual around here? And Nolan goes, yeah, hell yeah.
All he does is yes and. He's
It's not yes and, it's hell yeah.
Hell yes. And nothing. Just whatever you ask him, sure.
Get the feeling you'd get along somehow with Wild Bill. This is his livelihood, so we're still justifying the hunt as if to cryptid eco-terrorists. There's nobody saying, how dare you let this thing live? Just like there was nobody saying we have to kill this, so it's all for nothing.
Now, I'm taking notes on the Wampus beast, trying to learn about it. And he's devouring this guy's cattle. He's missing cattle. So the Wampus beast will eat a cow whole, but he pleasure kills a piglet. Just like
they're too small. They're snacks.
Yeah, they're not even that. He just likes to likes the feeling it gives him to take a piglet's life.
It's like when you deshell a pistachio and then you're like, nah, this pistachio is too much.
Right. And then just stab a banana and leave it for dead. Like
It's exactly like that. They go to see his cattle and Trapper says, man, Nolan, you got some good looking calves. Which I believe that was genuine enthusiasm and I love it. Jeff says, what do you think these weigh? And Nolan answers, 900, 1,000 pounds. And so Trapper says, well, this beast's about 500 pounds, so it could do that easy. I don't think that math worked out for you.
I don't.
I don't think that was the right improv.
I could eat 440 pounds of hot dogs. So, like, that's how, like...
Just stuffing it in his Wampus Beast cheek pouches. Just completely dragging the cow away in the cheek pouch. They say the only reason Nolan is alive is that he was in his side-by-side. If he weren't, he'd have been the very first Wampus Beast casualty. I guess ever? Ever?
Yeah, I guess ever.
If he would have been the first ever, fucking leave this thing alone. Cows have killed people. Like,
those side-by-side golf carts have killed more people than in this week than...
Maybe in this episode later. My favorite comedy bit so far, they send Buck and Jeff to climb up a gentle hill, and they immediately start complaining about it. Like, why is it gotta be me climbing up this goddamn hill? And Trapper in the back says, anytime, Buck, put it in high gear. And then we cue some wacky hillbilly music, not quite dueling banjos, but not far off, and do a little sketch where Nolan does what, Buck, could you go a little to the right? Oh, could you go a little to the left? Now, could you get down on all fours? All right, crawl about a little bit. And then Nolan finally says, yeah, that's about what the Wampus Beast looked like there. This was all because they had video of it and wanted to recreate the video using Buck as what it's to prove that nothing. They came up with a good bit.
I don't know if it's a good bit, but it was a committed bit. This is one of those bits that I love in incompetent TV where you can kind of tell what they're going for. They've seen this sort of thing in other shows and they're like, let's do one of those things, and just have no idea how to construct it. They don't understand like what the comedy beats might be here or what the motivations might be. And so they end up doing something very zany and silly, but without any of the elements that you would normally find in something like that. And so
they never know how to do a button at the end. Like they never know how to wrap it up.
Yeah, there's no turn. There's no
good
button. Job.
It was definitely the like fancy lady with the workers trying to position the painting a little here. Isn't it funny how fussy she's been? Mm-hmm. It's for nothing. It's for no point. For no reason. We cut back to Wild Bill and Willy's Crackhead Trap Shack. They're in their little forest golf cart. They found the perfect trail. It's the first one they tried, and it's perfect. They have to subtitle Wild Bill in this episode, so you know it's a high energy day. He's feeling rambunctious.
Had a lot of coffee. He's drank his coffee that morning.
Yeah, a lot of coffee, and he's just come back from the dentist, which is why he's having such trouble talking. He starts off, I'm going to read his quote here. He starts off very quiet and disapproving, saying, Wampus Beast. Huh. It's just kill, and people's livestock around here, and with a lot of people I'll fear it. There's something here. I don't fear him. Maybe gonna show him what fear is. It's an exact quote. I was very careful transcribing that. I don't know what it means in human English. They're not. It's a solid block of red underlines in my text here. But I think he's threatening the Wampus Beast, despite him being the one person who has never encountered it. He's fucking mad.
Yeah, he came in late, but he's still pissed.
I wrote down a quote, but I'm not sure. Was this Wild Bill or was it Willy saying, it's going to take a special kind of tree to be able to take the force of jerking this net trap way up into the air to hold this Wampus Beast?
It sounds like Willy. It's much more reasonable.
Yeah, Wild Bill doesn't have that kind of foresight. Wild Bill's like, tree, yeehaw! That's more like how he would put it.
That's actually what happens next. There is a tree climbing montage where Wild Bill explains, I climb trees ever since about the last 34 years. What I done for a living is what I do every day and put it into a whole hole.
I was shocked by this because he's almost died from a tree every episode I've watched.
Including this one right here as he's saying that.
And
so he says this.
He does shoot up a tree, but I always thought that was the meth. I always thought that was just because he's an unkillable hillbilly filled with drugs. But it turns out some of that is training.
I think he's just a professional unkillable hillbilly filled with drugs. I think that is the meth, but they pay him.
He's going to reveal in a future episode that he's a linesman, which means he climbs poles and works around these high voltage utility lines that could, just so much current.
Fuck.
So much.
He would be dead so many times.
So much current running through these things, they would blow you apart if you touched them. Like, it wouldn't just electrocute you, it would blow your arms off. And he's been doing this for 34 years after he got out of the Marines, where he claimed he was a paratrooper. So again, I'm not accusing him of saying any untruths about any of these things. It's fascinating to imagine what he describes his day job as being.
Marines have an airborne division. They might. I do notice that he says hoorah instead of oorah, which is just a little bit of a red flag that this might be some stolen valor type situation. But again, these are very circumstantial.
Wild Bill still seals a lot of stuff. Let's be fair.
Okay.
Valor, copper, catalytic converters. It's all.
I guess the fact that he works his alignment also explains why he's only there for a few minutes every episode. Like, everybody else is, comfortably unemployed. He's the one that's like, I can't make Wampus Beast till Saturday night.
So as he's saying all of this, we're showing footage of him just falling upside down on a rope and like flailing about wildly and just having a blast up there, to the point where his hat falls off, and he says this: "Done borrow my hat. Look at that horse shit." I think he's saying he's mad that the ground borrowed his hat, which is it's brilliant. I love it. Anyway, he does fall out of this tree and land on his back, and Willy says, "Well, that's a back-scratching landing if I ever seen one." And it should have been the Looney Tunes hole closing on that line. That was such a good line. It should have just been, Willy.
I don't get how this trap works. So
it's just a snare trap.
Snare trap, and it's like tied to this tree, and they have to cut that rope with the knife to get the trap to trigger. But then they assume the Wampus Beast is going to go in it tonight, but it's not baited. And as far as I can tell, you could walk straight across this trap as much as you want, as long as nobody's cutting the rope over on the tree at the exact same time.
I think they say something about a tripwire.
It's Sean, you weren't paying attention, to be frank.
Okay.
Wild Bill clearly says, once he hits that tripwire, shame on him, brother. He's going to be launched into outer space.
Okay, so there's a tripwire. I see.
Now
they say that, but when they do test the trap, he does it by cutting one of the ropes. So no, there's not a tripwire.
I want to make something very clear. This trap, none of these traps that they're going to build, including the next couple episodes, they don't actually work. If you watch the moment they trigger the trap, they just cut to it rising up. It's just somebody off camera pulling the rope up.
Yeah, right. It doesn't pull up with the kind of force that a snare trap from I believe they say a 30-foot hickory tree that they somehow managed to bend, but do not show. It's the trigger.
The thing they draw on the diagram is they don't actually build that. They just have some ropes that kind of give the appearance, but it's not like rigged with tension. It would be far, far too dangerous to have these men actually try to build a working trap with using Looney Tunes logic.
As they're flailing around building this trap, there's a beautiful little exchange where Willy seems to be losing patience with Wild Bill's just careening nature and says, "Your mom ever tell you was hyper?" And Wild Bill gets real quiet, says, Yeah, I've been known to be a little hyper. Like the most subdued I've ever seen him. Like maybe it hits a nerve, maybe he's just coming down.
We are not going to pursue that any further.
We're not.
I know what you're insinuating.
And take the meth down. I got it. I'll take your notes, sir. I am classically trained thespian.
As if to put a button on that scene, we cut to Wild Bill hauling a log, and then at the end of it, he sits down and yells out, "You might need to call 911." Like he's so tired. Yeah. But Willy doesn't. And if there's one person on the show that's like, "Call 911 for me," it's gonna be Wild Bill. Like immediately, I will not consider that a joke. I just be like, "Oh fuck." I've got Narcan, Wild Bill, don't worry. But no, Willy doesn't. So they prove that this trap is going to work by getting a barrel, and the comedy bit here is they're going to try to get Buck to sit on the barrel because he's a large man, and it would be funny to have him sit on a barrel, I guess. They, like Jason said, they cut the rope and it's clearly two people just hauling it up into the sky, and they celebrate. They did a great job. Gonna snare a Wampus beast in the night hunt, which is tonight.
They do a really funny fake reaction shot here where like they show all the guys looking at the trap off camera and they all like shoot their heads up into the sky like, wow, look at that thing that's off frame.
It's great pantomiming because they're out of sync too.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like some people are looking a little off. It's very much the Enterprise is being attacked kind of motion that all of the crew is doing there. Stabilize that. It'll be funny. So they drive out to the forest at night in the Little Forest golf carts. I know the names for them. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to call them Little Forest golf carts until I die. The teams they always split up. Trapper, Jeff, and Willy on Team A, Huckleberry, Wild Bill, and Buck on Team B. And Buck is really fucking trying to sell his new job as caller because still in the show, he's rookie. Uh-huh. His old job was just be the butt of our jokes. And so what he's done is he has brought what appears to be a broken kazoo out to do this, and he already speaks fluent Wampus Beast. He knows two calls. He knows a Wampus Beast distress call, and he knows another Wampus Beast that tells the other Wampus Beast, I have found food over here, come on over.
Now, I think what he has here is called a coon squaller, and it's to like sound like a raccoon. And
it's practically the same thing.
Yeah, so I don't.
I love the term coon squaller.
So I think that's what. I don't know if they're trying to bait the Wampus Beast or if they think that the Wampus Beast speaks fluent raccoon. But that's the noise he's making. I think is a raccoon noise.
I'm gonna insist making love is now called a coon squaller. Anyway, he makes this terrible noise.
I had a note here that Buck was kind of trying out like special forces like radio code. Like he's kind of like Buck for Trapper. That's a negative. Like I feel like they're trying something out that they don't really pursue.
Buck, I think it's Buck. He wants to be taken more seriously. He's trying to like wrestle through improv his way, much like he did with the Indian child bride for Bigfoot. He's trying to just sheer force like, I am not the joke anymore. It's gonna be a fight because it's not working yet. He's still a joke. The Wampus is gonna make his move on Nolan's cattle tonight, Trapper says, because he's got the Wampus agenda. Jeff picks up something on thermal. It's something little, and they find utterly bleached, stripped bare, clean bones, as though bought from a gift shop in like a ghost town.
Used in at least one previous episode when they found the bone. Remember the boneyard from whatever animal had the boneyard? It was the exact same skeleton. Yeah, it's not the last time we'll see it.
They bought one skeleton. They're going to get their money's worth. Buck says, well, it looks like it's been here for just a little while. It would have been here for like 20 years if it was here. Huckleberry's team picks up a trail and have found more of those adorable claw marks. They try to call it. Buck makes his fussy little baby raccoon sound, fluent in Wampus. And he's answered by the Wampus Beast, making that canned lion roar. Like, so they, in the same scene, like he makes this squirrely little crazy sound and the Wampus Beast comes back with roar.
Yeah, but it kind of sounds the same, like, so this might be a Wampus Beast squaller. I don't know where they bought it, but it kind of sounds like they're making similar squalls.
I did not get that at all. I got the canned lion roar and like Donald Duck in a meat grinder kind of sound.
So I guess what was strange to me here is that they mentioned that they're going onto this guy Nolan's property, and I'm not sure he knows that they're going to be charging onto his property with guns, because this is not like part of the plan to go onto his property. So they are like armed intruders on a guy's field right now.
You think the $20 at the gas station covers it? Like, he woke up at 3 a.m, like, we gave you $20. Shut the fuck up, Nolan.
But also in the scene, Brockway, we get your favorite thing. They've got to go back to back.
They got to go back to back.
They got to get back.
Hillbilly Phalanx.
Get back to back with their shotguns and create.
There's no hole in that defense. Nothing's getting past the partnership. They don't even have to speak to call each other's targets.
And Buck calls in.
Go back to.
He says, "We saw him 7,500 clicks from where we are." Now, To translate that into English, that's 4,700 miles.
Miles, right?
Yes. And the Trapper
that's
answers back
Brazil.
also in clicks.
That's so far away.
I can't even figure out what he meant to say because obviously, again, he's decided they're going to start using this military type code to sound like
He thought it was cool.
to sound like that. He's been doing this his whole life. He's like, yeah, he's only about 7,500 clicks from us. Like 7,500, anything from them is not only like 7,500 is pretty far away.
What units are those?
But Trapper goes along with it and starts using clicks too. So everybody's recording it in clicks. Like the Wampus Beast is in Canada somewhere, and they're on him. So they now's the most dangerous part of the episode where they have to run up a hill in the dark. I'm not joking. Because people fall and hurt themselves all the time. They get to their little golf carts and they start just fucking hauling ass and hooting and hollering in and out of Nolan's cow field, just outright chasing his cows at night with their golf carts. And then they cut to a testimonial of Buck saying, "Something's got these cows spooked."
My second favorite moment from the episode, because they have clearly, like, this is not a joke, like they have clearly like disturbed and upset and traumatized these cows. They'd come charging in there at night. The cows were asleep in these loud ass golf carts, screaming and waving their guns around. These cows are basically stampeded in every direction. And it's like, man, something's got these cows spooked.
I bet
it could only be one thing.
Within 1 second, I bet Nolan and his wife knew exactly what was going on. She's like, "What is that out there?" And Nolan's like, "God damn, it's these fucking guys I met earlier." Oh,
I told them $20 buys you 30 minutes. God damn it.
And is this where Trapper pulls out his Glock?
Yes.
Just about. They say, we got him on the run, and they chase him. No, it's the scene. They chase him down into like just some trees, just a bunch of sticks on the ground, and then they all start dramatically pointing their guns at something past the tree. The camera, as it always will, films only them and not the beast.
Right.
It does briefly zoom in on nothing, like that's proof enough, and then it pans across like quick shots. Trapper or Huckleberry's got a shotgun, everybody's got the rifles, and then it pans across Trapper holding a flashlight and like a fucking 9mm.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna,
it's a Glock.
like he's gonna gangland. It's a Glock. Okay, I don't know guns very well, but he's gonna execute.
It's an expensive handgun that the cops use, and he's got this up there held up with a little mini flashlight next to it under barrel.
Flashlight.
To be clear to the listeners, even if you've never hunted or observed someone hunting in any time in your day in your life, there's no such thing as hunting with a Glock handgun. That's not a thing you're allowed to do. That's not a thing you would do even in an emergency.
Like, I don't know guns at all, but he has said this thing is 600 pounds. Like, you've got a little pistol and you're tactically clearing corners in the woods.
I liked it because there was like a little tree branch that wiggles in front of them. And I feel like that's the bravest, I guess you'd call them a production assistant. But like someone had to go out there in front of all these hillbillies with guns and like wave a little branch. Like
I always just think it's one of the other. I think it's Wild Bill or out there. I just assume there's no.
Yeah. Whoever's not on camera is out there doing that.
But I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. They might be like, "No, Wild Bill is over there. That's the real Wampus beast here, guys. It's no longer a bam, 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 bam."
Yes, as we have tragically proven, even if you think they're unloaded, it's not a great idea to put like 7 hillbillies in a line and have them point guns at you. Just not a great idea. There's a dramatic canned line sound effect again, and everybody's scrambling. Oh, he's back towards the trap. And what I love about this is that it's a real quick moment. Blink and you'll miss it. There's a really dramatic shot of Huckleberry losing his hat, and then he looks down at it and considers it for a second and decides, no time, and then kind of runs off. But then they cut to a testimonial from Huckleberry about this, and he still has his hat. Yeah. So I guess there was time. He decided just afterwards, like, there's time. Yeah. And he came back and got his hat. The trap, of course, is empty, and they say, oh, he just cut out of the trap. Of course he did.
Here's the thing. Check this out. If they would have set up a trail camera, any kind of camera, right here, on the trap they knew that it would trigger, they would have had proof of the Wampus beast. It's just like, man, if only these monster documentarians would have thought of that. It's just, they were so close.
If only they would just, when the monster physically attacks them, like is attacking somebody right next to them, if only the cameras would not close up on their face instead of the monster.
They're always so close.
And for first-time listeners,
They're always so close.
confused because, again, Sean brought up earlier, like they never bait the trap. So you're asking yourselves, well, A, why with all of the vast 3 million square miles of America would this monster go into that exact 5-foot wide space where the net happens to be if there's no bait? And 2, what would prevent some other creature like a deer or whatever else they have in coyotes, whatever else they have in West Virginia from
Wild Bill.
Yeah, a guy walking in the woods, a guy just hiking, anybody, a child wants to prevent. Again, those two questions usually will never, ever, ever be answered throughout this series. So this is a staple that anytime they build a trap, whether they bait it or not, they are 100% certain that it can only catch the mythical creature and that it will not be, even though it's just triggered by a tripwire, like anything. A squirrel, anything could technically trip their tripwire. It doesn't matter. If it gets triggered, it means they temporarily had caught a Wampus beast.
Oh, man. If a little kid was just like walked into that, if that's how this episode ends, with a little kid walking into the trap and being launched into outer space and just Wild Bill and Willy looking at it like, I would, again, let me write for this show. Looney Tunes close, of course. So now they find a track. It's another little Play-Doh cutter. No, sorry, it's a coffee can. We've already established. Right. They told us how they were going to make the track. Very neat, sharp outlines. They still haven't learned that's not how tracks look. That's enough for Trapper to be satisfied. And he says, I just hope the sumbitch knows how close I came to getting him. He tucked tail and he ran. He knows who we are. So he hopes the Wampus Beast knows Trapper's name and is like, that guy was going to fucking kill me.
Nemesis.
So again, to the listeners, you might be thinking, okay, well, so the second half of the episode, they'll get it for real. Oh no, this is the end. They're done with the Wampus Beast forever. And to really play out, because you have to see how magical the end of this episode is. They arrive at their trap with the net still swinging from the Wampus Beast having escaped, meaning it escaped 5 seconds before they got there. They arrive
so close
and just immediately stand there with their hands on their hips like, dang, we so close. But wait, I think there's a track. It's like, no, it could still be standing like 5 feet away from you. It could still be right there. It wouldn't necessarily have run off. If you've established that it's not afraid of you, why would it getting caught in your trap for literally 10 seconds and then it easily cut its way through this 1/2-inch thick rope with its claws effortlessly? Why would it be afraid? Why would its conclusion be, oh, I can never come back here. I've got to go off to a different state and terrorize those people. It's like, no, your problem is not solved. If anything, it's like, man, I've just got a buffet right here in front of me.
I didn't know they made humans this big. This is amazing.
There's a moment here, like, because again, like they have just stopped to have conversations and measure tracks, and Wild Bill is like, it was a pretty good trap, except for the net. But I would argue that's a very important part of the Wampus Beast trap, is a net that can contain it.
They had to tie 800 knots to make this. So Trapper, we moved the goalpost now. Now it's a successful mission because they fucking terrorized the Wampus Beast. As though we've set the goals back and like, this is now our only goal. We're just here to harass cryptids. This is the Harass the Cryptids show. They're all very proud of it. Trapper says, well, I bet he squalled like a Comanche when he was in that fucking net. Scare the shit out of him. And then they all laugh like it's a Jackie Chan movie. Everybody laughs at the Wampus Beast's cowardice. And that's how we go out.
Now, I think, this is going to sound crazy, but I think what they did is prove that the Wampus Beast doesn't exist. Because when Trapper gives that testimonial of like, I don't think that goddamn thing knows how close we were to getting him. If he did exist, that would have been the most perfect, funniest time for it to just put him into the shadows. And the fact that that didn't happen means he doesn't exist.
Right, if that scene instead ended with them all laughing at the Wampus Beast cowardice and then something shook and just screams everywhere, cut to black, that's perfect. That's the perfect ending for an episode.
Yeah.
But that's not.
Yeah.
We practically do a Jackie Chan freeze frame on them laughing at the Wampus Beast cowardice. So it's time to pick our favorite Mountain Monsters quote of the episode, an impossible task. Let's go with Jason.
I'm going to go with back during the Wild Bill and Willy trap building segment. Wild Bill says, "We owe him. Think of the pork chops and the bacon we could be eating."
Still establishing the stakes. Like, what now? Now I'm mad about the pork chops. I could have been having pork chops. We're going to kill us, some bitch. Sean, what's your favorite quote?
Oh, for me, it's 7,500 clicks. 100%. Like, I laughed so hard.
It's in fucking Australia?
It's just...
it's kind of a sleeper. It's not going to steal the show, but I'm going with Wild Bill's "That ground borrowed my hat." Horse shit.
Because you had to be a Bigfoot teacher, you had to open up your mouth. You had to be a Bigfoot teacher. All your friends were so knocked out. You had to have the last word last night. You know what everything's about. You had to have the white hot spotlight. You had to be a Bigfoot last night. Whoa, whoa.